12 great movies based on anime/manga that you cannot miss. It's true that live-action movies based on anime and manga series usually hold a terrible reputation. This can be attributed to some of the poorer quality live-action adaptations, which change characters from the way they initially are, destroy complex plots, and add trivial things that ruin the essence of the original series. However, despite this unfortunate reputation, a handful of movies adapted from anime and manga series are great and will blow your mind. Watch this video to find out what your favorites are.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Ichi the Killer, 2001. Anjo, the boss of a Yakuza group, suddenly vanishes along with 300 million yen. He is hunted by his henchman Kakihara, a sadomasochistic man, and the rest of his gang. They soon capture a rival gang member and torture him, only to realize that he is the wrong person. They then begin looking for Gigi, the person who gave them the information in the first place. Things take a turn when the gang encounters a man named Ichi, a sexually deprived, psychotic young man who is incredibly well trained in martial arts. He begins taking out members of the Yakuza one by one until the equally psychotic Kakihara is left. Takashi Miike's Ichi the Killer is based on Hideo Yamamoto's manga series of the same name.
Not crying!
It is a gory, dark horror comedy with intense, surreal imagery that serves as pure entertainment. The film shines because Miike has added his unique touch and made it perversely funny with graphic violence and imagery. Throughout the film, the violence is portrayed with a mixture of sarcasm and melancholy. The movie renders the violence in a sophisticated manner with its computer-generated blood splatter and excellent makeup effects. Although the theme and genre aren't very thought-provoking on a surface level, viewers are made to question the impact of violence in media. The film stirred up significant controversy after its release, leading it to be banned in several countries due to its graphic content. It is so authentic in its execution that Takashi Miike claimed that any censorship would reduce the impact and make it more exploitative. Ichi's character, both in the manga as well as the movie, personifies the insecurities that a strong macho man would suffer from. This is a recurring fixation for Miike, cropping up in some of his best films. Inuyashiki, 2018. 58-year-old Inuyashiki Ichiro spent his life waiting for his big break. His family continually ignores and disrespects him despite his efforts to support them throughout. To make matters worse, his doctor informs him that he has cancer and doesn't have much time to live. When he thinks he's finally hit rock bottom, he comes across a bright light in the sky. This light hits the earth exactly where Inuyashiki is standing. After he wakes up, he eventually begins noticing a difference within himself. He notices certain changes in his demeanor, which allow him to turn his life around and become someone worthy and respected. Little does he know that there is also someone else who has undergone the same transition. Inuyashiki, directed by Shinsuke Sato, is adapted from the manga series of the same created by Hiroya Oku. The series fits into the sci-fi genre and also depicts themes of body horror. The film, however, exhibits anti-ageism themes, providing thrilling action and an endearing set of characters. Critics have praised Sato for creating such a movie in a country with the world's largest population of senior citizens. The film shows the extent to which they are undervalued, making it a heartwarming watch for viewers. Compared to other sci-fi films involving cyborgs and humanoids, Sato's heavy metal fetishism is minimal. Instead, he takes a mainstream story and makes it an incredibly entertaining movie by giving it a stylish narrative. The movie's screenplay, written by Hiroshi Hashimoto, is extremely easy to follow and is well grounded in human motivations and psychology. Therefore, despite being a sci-fi film, it doesn't seem totally outlandish to the audience. It is relatable and subtly strikes a chord with Japanese men who spent their youth contributing to the economy's buildup but are now forgotten by society due to their old age. Crying Freeman, 1995. Yo Hinamura, a lethal Japanese assassin, works for a Chinese organization. Every time he takes a life, he sheds a tear expressing his regret. He executes 3 Yakuza gangsters in front of a beautiful artist called Emu O'Hara, who is captivated by his gracefulness and eventually falls in love with him. Soon there is an intense struggle for the Yakuza gang's leadership position, since Yo murdered 3 of their members. The gang seeks vengeance on him, but are unpleasantly surprised when they realize they've made a mistake by going after the skilled Crying Freeman. Christoph Gantz' Crying Freeman is based on the best-selling manga of the same name by Kazuo Koike and Ryoichi Ikegami.
Freeman!
Popular opinion holds that the film is a work of perfection, staying very loyal to the manga series. It showcases plenty of colorful action sequences as well as some occult conversations. Gantz implements a stylish nihilistic theme attractive not only to Japanese viewers but international viewers too. Crying Freeman is a satisfying blend of Asian chopsake and smooth Western technology. The narrative, which incorporates elements of a standard thriller, features a romantic element that forces viewers to secretly root for the couple. What makes this breathtaking adaptation is how flawlessly Gantz has executed the quirky novelties from the series, including the undertone of humor, without overpowering the elaborate themes present. For instance, Yo's gun is programmed to self-destruct after completing a mission. Despite the massive body count the gun incurs, there is not a drop of blood on Yo himself. Overall, Crying Freeman is one of the best manga adaptations in existence, and the film certainly has the potential to warrant a franchise. Alita, Battle Angel, 2019. Based in a post-apocalyptic world, 3 centuries after a great war, Dr. Ito discovers a female cyborg with a working human brain.
You're alive?
Ito takes this disembodied cyborg, attaches a new body to the brain, and names her Alita. When she awakens, she has no memory of who she is. Dr. Ito soon realizes that she is an angel from heaven who has come to break the cycle of death and destruction. Alita, Battle Angel, directed by Robert Rodriguez, is a cyberpunk action film based on the Japanese manga Battle Angel Alita by Yukito Kishiro. Just as with Rodriguez's other works, he has here incorporated light and energetic camera movements, a certain playfulness in the movie's overall atmosphere, and quick, focused editing. Alita Battle Angel is a fun, loving, action-packed big screen adaptation that was in the works for more than a decade since James Cameron picked up the rights. Both Robert Rodriguez and co-producer Cameron have created a compelling post-apocalyptic movie, carving the plot with careful detail, allowing for fleshed-out characters with intriguing multi-dimensional traits. The narrative used is emotionally driven, keeping the audience engrossed and building empathy for the viewers. There is clear inspiration in Alita from several other sci-fi movies which focus on the similar subject of physical class divisions in a metropolis. Assassination Classroom, 2015. Due to an unknown devastating force, the Earth's moon has suddenly become 70% smaller and permanently crescent-shaped. In Kanugigaoka Junior High School, Nagisa Shiota from Class 3E narrates the story. Although people believe that this classroom is filled with the school's discarded delinquents, In reality, it is a front for the Japanese government. The government is trying to find their teacher Koro-sensei, who they believe is responsible for the moon's dire state. Koro-sensei is a strange creature with tentacles whom the students have to assassinate by the end of the school year, but not before they learn the art of assassination from him. Eiichiro Hasumi's Assassination Classroom is based on the manga series of the same name.
Nice to meet you.
The pleasure's all mine. Should be a fun and educational year.
The movie starts of an absurd tone and only gets weirder as it progresses. The premise is such that it leaves viewers questioning what they have just watched. Nevertheless, the film grasps the viewer's attention within the first 5 minutes using a wall-narrated segment of visual exposition. Despite being just the voice for the CGI character Koro-sensei, Katsunari Ninomiya has an extremely enigmatic presence on screen, adding lots of unusual energy to the movie. Although the assassination-based plot might seem slightly dark to viewers, the film's overall atmosphere is more fun-loving and packed with plenty of action. What stands out most about Assassination Classroom is the potential for huge emotional investment after just one viewing. The message of the film is something that several filmmakers have explored before, but none have been able to do so with as much poetic craftsmanship as Hasumi, amidst such an outlandish storyline. This heartfelt action comedy is a must-watch for everyone. Rurouni Kenshin 2012. In the aftermath of the Bakumatsu War in 1868, Kenshin Himura, a former assassin, takes an oath to defend those who need help as atonement for the murders he has committed. He wanders the country with a reverse blade sword just as the transition from the samurai age to the new age occurs. Soon Kenshin rescues Kaoru Kamiya from the goons of Takeda Kanryu, a powerful drug lord, and Kaoru invites Kenshin to stay with him at his late father's kendo school. Meanwhile, Takani Megumi, a woman taken by Kanryu, escapes and takes refuge in the school after Kanryu's people kill everyone in the police station. Eager to find the perpetrator of this string of police murders, Kenshin teams up with a street fighter named Sagara Sanosuke to defeat Kanryu. Keiichi Otomo's Rurouni Kenshin is a nearly perfect adaptation of the manga series of the same name, written and illustrated by Nobuhiro Wasuki. Kenshi's character remains as outwardly clueless as he is in the manga, and even uses the same catchphrase. However, Otomo chose to remove much of the manga's slapstick humor, and so the film holds a more serious tone in comparison. This shouldn't mislead viewers, since the film still contains a handful of lighthearted moments, even though the overall story contains life or death stakes. The movie's excellent direction and choreography in the action scenes are evident right from the beginning. The fast pace and the exhilarating feeling that viewers get while watching them can be attributed to creative camera techniques. The best part about the film is that all the effects are achieved practically, and there is no use of CGI. This makes it far more authentic and entertaining. The changes that Otomo made in the movie simply work towards giving certain characters the complete story arc that they couldn't receive in the manga series.
You're finished.
Terra Formars 2016. As scientists in the 21st century prepare to colonize Mars, they fill the planet with algae trying to absorb sunlight. They also wish to purify the red planet's atmosphere using cockroaches who spread the algae as they feed on it. This is to make the environment on the planet more hospitable. 5 centuries later, as the first mission to Mars is in process, the crew, made up of international criminals and societal misfits, uses the journey to seek redemption for their crimes. They eventually lose contact with Earth and another ship is sent to investigate. The second ship is in for an enormous surprise. Terra Formars, an adaptation of the manga series of the same name, is yet another outlandishly fantastic film created by director Takashi Miike.
The film is loaded with intriguing fights between human beings and aliens and exhibits some excellent special effects in the form of tall, mutated muscular cockroaches. It has all the trademarks of a campy, enjoyable sci-fi movie. Viewers should watch for pure entertainment. Moreover, being shot in Iceland, the film displays some out-of-this-world cinematography and location shots of Mars. While watching it, viewers will immediately identify several nods to films like Blade Runner, Alien, and Starship Troopers. The film has a strong comic book vibe due to its over-the-top CGI animation, making it a perfect adaptation. Overall, this is a great adaptation, a comedic, nonsensical movie with awesome action aesthetics that will blow the viewer's mind. Lone Wolf and Cub, Sword of Vengeance, 1972. Set during an unknown year of the Edo period in Japan, the Tokugawa shogunate is the country's ruler. He is in the process of eradicating any opposing forces and making every daimyo submit to him. Within the shogunate hierarchy, there are several clans: the Kurokawa clan, the Yagyu clan, and the Ogami clan. The Yagyu clan stirs up a scheme to frame Ito Ogami as a traitor trying to assassinate the ruling shogun. After his wife and servants' deaths, Ogami swears to seek vengeance against those responsible. He begins working as an assassin with his young son Daigoro by his side. Lone Wolf and Cub, Sword of Vengeance is directed by Kenji Misumi, adapted from the manga series by Katsuo Koike, and is the first in a series of the Lone Wolf and Cub films. The film is structured using a beautiful narrative about a devastated father and son. Although their final intent is vengeance, it is actually a beautiful bonding tale as the father and son experience a long and arduous journey together. This narrative can largely be attributed to the way the manga was written. Before the release of this movie, classical traditional samurai cinema focused on historical narratives of the movie or existential heroes. With this movie, Misuma introduced a fair bit of exploitation as well, including scenes of splattering blood and explicit nudity. This was a game-changing approach that most non-Western filmmakers of the 1970s couldn't fathom. Moreover, Misumi's trademark can easily be recognized by someone who has seen his earlier work. On the surface, he incorporates classical Japanese settings and has a sharp eye for detail of the period being portrayed in the film. The violence that it contains is diligently showcased with groundbreaking editing and tension flowing throughout the film's runtime. Space Battleship Yamato, 2010. 5 years after being attacked by an alien race called the Gamillas, the Earth has been entirely demolished by radiation bombs, and whatever remnants of humanity remain now live underground. Susumi Kodai, a former pilot, discovers a message capsule one day that has supposedly been sent from the planet Iskandar. The message informs them about a device that can get rid of the radiation from Earth's surface. The United Nations of Space Administration rebuild this device known as Battleship Yamato. It also contains a new propulsion system called the Wave Motion Engine. This makes it easy for it to travel to Iskandar and back to Earth in time to save it. Takashi Yamazaki's Space Battleship Yamato is based on the anime series of the same name by Yoshinobu Nishizaki. Yamazaki tastefully structures the movie's otherwise condensed plot and focuses it on the coming of age of the rebellious space cadet protagonist Kodai. Viewers will notice that he hasn't resorted to brainless special effects and action sequences merely to keep them entertained. Instead, the movie is filled with intergalactic battles between spacecraft and terrestrial combat, but also character drama. The film does not hold to the conventions of standard Hollywood sci-fi blockbusters. Yamazaki orchestrates the action sequences via classical methods and poetic aesthetics, inspired by the first Star Wars trilogy or the 2001 Space Odyssey. Moreover, the props used as space vehicles in the interior cabin setting appear to be overwhelmingly real, courtesy of the unique animation used in the film. Although Yamazaki and his team have added certain cheesy elements, they aren't overpoweringly hilarious and do not turn the film into a laughable low-budget B-movie. Space Battleship Yamato remains one of the best live-action adaptations of the anime series by one of the best filmmakers. Gantz 2010. After being killed in a train accident, Kei Korono and Masaru Kato wake up to discover that they are in another world. In this world, they are under the control of a black orb called Gantz. Gantz forces the two to participate in missions where they are supposed to hunt and kill aliens, though they are unaware whether they are playing a game or if this is their new reality. After killing aliens and accumulating 100 points, they have the option to either be brought back to life or to resurrect someone of their choice. Gantz is a movie based on the manga series created by Hiroya Oku. It is directed by Shinsuke Sato and filled with sex and violence, though the cast is mostly young. Oku's more or less realistic visual style with added 3D rendering is a treat for the audience, authentically illustrating the action sequences for the manga. Being the first of a two-part film, it is easy to assume Gantz might disappoint, leaving the climactic scenes for the second part. However, it's pleasantly surprising to see that the film works as a self-contained installment rather than just as a setup for the next movie. Oku primarily focuses on the two protagonists' emotional arc as they go from unnoticeable college students to full-fledged heroes. Illustrating the contents of a graphic novel on the big screen is something that filmmakers often struggle with, but Oku pulls it off with ease. Parasyte Part 1, 2014. A mysterious group of aliens known as parasites begin invading the human race by entering the brains of their prey and infecting them. When one of them tries to enter the brain of a high school student named Shinichi Izumi, it is impeded by the headphones Shinichi wears, and he is able to retain human consciousness, unlike the alien's other victims. Shinichi soon befriends the creature, naming him Migi. Parasyte Part 1, directed by Takashi Yamazaki, is based on the Parasyte manga series by Hitoshi Iwaki. Yamazaki is a master of using visual effects on the big screen, and he rose to prominence by taking on projects that cater to his strengths. It's not surprising that Parasyte Part 1 showcased stunning visual effects executed in Yamazaki's stylish manner. The film's protagonist isn't an over-the-top macho hero, but a simple teenage kid, and Shota Somatani doesn't disappoint in his outstanding portrayal of the young student. Usually, people are a little skeptical about movies being split into two halves, because they think they won't be able to absorb the entire story just by watching the first part. Yamazaki solves this problem by splitting up and reshifting the focus of these two movies. Part 1 deals primarily with how the parasites impact Shinichi's life, and Part 2 explores how they impact the rest of the world. Uzumaki 2000. In the small Japanese town of Kurozuko, a high school student named Kiri observes that her boyfriend Shuichi's father is silently video recording the patterns on a snail. He wants to make a scrapbook that contains anything with a spiral design. As time passes, he becomes more and more obsessed with spirals, eventually committing suicide inside a washing machine, bending his body to make a spiral shape. Soon, other people in the town slowly become possessed by different forms of spirals. What will become of the people in Kurozucho? Uzumaki, directed by Higuchinsky, is based on the manga series of the same name by Junji Ito. This film, one of the new cycle Japanese horror films, is a unique
weird, and creepy tale of how things that exist in nature can have the most enormous and complex impact on people. Before watching this, one wouldn't even notice a spiral. The film goes far beyond the limits of normalcy, and the director uses the spiral as an allegory for the never-ending twists and turns one faces during their lifespan. This dark comedy contains plenty of gory scenes, as Higuchinsky introduces viewers to new concepts of body horror that they didn't know existed. The special effects are out of this world, making for some of the most unbelievable death scenes. The movie takes its time in developing the plot, allowing the audience to wallow in the emphatic visual style, which is very much in line with that of the illustrations in the manga. Overall, the movie features brilliant performances by the cast, a fantastic eerie atmosphere, and a gripping storyline.
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.